Welcome to the Light, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi everyone, welcome back for another edition of Lights, Camera, Rant. As always, I'm your wonderful host, Lee. And you've come to the right spot for anything movie, TV shows, and video game reviews, news, and ranting on till I get a blood vessel in my head because I can't convey it enough. So how are we all doing with the Spider-Man No Way Home fatigue? I look as in the past week since my last episode, which I told about Spider-Man No Way Home, all the theories, all the news and everything, which I just blurted out because this had to get it out because this past week my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, every single platform that this podcast is on has just been going nuts with Spider-Man theories. Every little tidbit, every little thing is just being zoomed in, or different scenes are splashed together. It's just becoming. It's just insane this past week, all about this. And, it's nearly, Spider-Man, this has nearly overshadowed anything else that's coming out at the moment. Look, Internals are still at the box office, yet right now, it's pretty much like, alright, cool, Internals, Spider-Man. We need to know more about Spider-Man. And it's just insane. As for the best thing I put it, I said to a blog the other day, was the fact that we are very lucky for being a Spider-Man fan or a comic book fan. It is a most wonderful time to be alive at this stage with everything that's coming out, everything that is going to be coming out, and anything that has come out. It's just fantastic. What we're seeing, and I did see the other day the very small comment that did make me feel a little bit sad was that Spider-Man 3 might be the single greatest Spider-Man movie ever made so far. And unfortunately, Stan Lee isn't going to be part of it, which is really sad. I feel like if he saw this movie, he would have just been blown away. It's almost terribly, terribly fitting, the fact that his last physical cameo was Endgame. It's like, that's the whole... the Infinity War saga's all done and everything, it's a whole saga, everything. And I feel like if he could have seen Spider-Man 3, he would love it, And as every single fan's going to watch this, I'm sure we're going to be blown away. I think still after last Tuesday or Monday when I brought out my Spider-Man No Way Home breakdown, I was still talking to Dean and Mark about it. I was like... There's still extra stuff I found. There's still more. I'm waiting for them to both be shut up, but at the same time, they're both just excited. They're both still breaking it down. And look, as I said last time, full train ahead, and it's going to be fantastic. So I hope you guys, there's no Spider-Man fatigue. You're just going to have to strap yourself in. It's going to be one wild ride. And also, definitely, if you haven't already, definitely go check out my DC breakdown episode with Dean and Mark, my guest star episode, because it's been a while since I've had someone on here. So that was a lot of fun to make, and everything DC, obviously breaking down fandom, and also how would we do it differently, because DC, well, not so much DC, but Warner Brothers is like, oh my god, all these characters, what are we going to do? Throw it at the wall, see what sticks. Yeah, you want a Batman? Yep, well here's 3 Batman. Is that what you want? Yeah, sure. It's just a mess. Warner Brothers doesn't know what F they're doing. Anyway, let's get on today's episode. So, fresh reminder, everybody, is the fact that as this episode release on 24th November, we're getting Hawkeye TV show. Hawkeye TV series, which is launching on Disney Plus. So this will be 6 episodes. We get the first 2 episodes for free, which is fantastic. So it's going to be very pumped to watch that. It's really crazy the fact that, being the last TV show, how big the break's been, and the fact that, we're already reaching that point. Because I remember when they first announced when Hawkeye was getting released, I was like, oh, November? That's far away. That's ages away. Like, don't have to think about that. It's right around the corner. It's right here. Oh my god. Back. Oh my god, it's nearly December. And at the same part, there's another part of me, it's like, Spider-Man No Way Home is too far away. But yeah, so very conflicted. But yeah, we've already reached that point. So very pumped to see this because, this is going to be another pullback away from the CGI, away from, what we've seen with Eternals, what we've seen with Loki, what we've seen with Shang-Chi. Is that pull us back? It's going to be another, Die Hard vibes. Apparently, there's lots of Die Hard vibes in this because it's Christmas, it's action. But we're going to see a little bit more on ground level, which, don't get me wrong, I love that. I love the fact that we can, as a fan, you can watch the MCU and it only caters to any of your liking. If you want a team up movie, Avengers. Do you want a hard action kung fu movie? Shang-Chi. You want something in space? Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you want something, a period piece? Captain America: First Avenger, or Captain Marvel, if you want a period piece. Or if you want something spy, espionage, Captain America: Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Hawkeye. It's going to be very much more ground and pound, the ground level going into this. So it's going to be really cool to see, and I can't wait to see, obviously, Kate Bishop in full suit and doing Hawkeye stuff, bows and arrows. It's going to be fantastic. I have no doubt it's going to be really good. So far, every little tidbit of early reviews I've seen, everyone has enjoyed it so far, so that's always positive. And obviously stay tuned because obviously I'm going to give my candidate review on this week by week, see what this all leads to. The most thing that we know going into this is the fact that after Black Widow, after the after credits scene, the fact that Hawkeye is getting blamed for, I can't remember her name now, that just escapes me. Black Widow's sister, wow, it was on the tip of my tongue and it's gone. Black Widow's sister, which Florence Pugh does play, she's been told the fact that Hawkeye is the one who's, is the reason for her sister's death. So she's going to be sent on a rampage. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not, is she going to right at the end of the episode, or is she going to make any appearance? As well as we've also been told that everything that Hawkeye did in Infinity War as Ronin in the space of that 5 years, Endgame in that space of that 5 years, after the events of Infinity War, when he was playing Ronin, that will carry across and will be making an effect, like sins of the past from what he's done from that will play into this as well. So, really pumped for that. Remember guys, November 24th, that's coming out. Moving along, Michael Keaton was on talk show, and he was talking to the fact that he's apparently returning to play Vulture. He's playing a Vulture, and he did say the fact he after he was doing the interview the very next day, he was shooting some Vulture scenes, but he wouldn't tell us what Vulture scenes were for. So we don't know if this is for Morbius, or we don't know if this is for Spider-Man No Way Home. So, is the Sinister Six? Yeah, that's a tongue twister. 6 Sinister Six, is Michael Keaton going to be the sixth person, or is it going to be someone else? Which I don't really want to mention because of the fact, spoilers in this podcast if you haven't known already. I don't really want to say because I'll wait until after I watch a particular movie and then I will mention it. Because I feel like that could be a very integral part. And for all those people that do know what I'm talking about, at least you guys know what I'm talking about because I got spoiled on TikTok. Yep, I was scrolling through TikTok and I thought, what's this? Oh, shit. It was too late then. I had to watch the whole thing. Guilty. But yes, Michael Keaton will be returning as Vulture. I think Michael Keaton did a great job as Vulture. Spider-Man Homecoming. I think he did a great job. And obviously we've seen the fact he does make an appearance in Morbius. How that's all going to play out. It's also going to be fantastic. So I really can't wait to see, obviously, more Michael Keaton. Next year he's got whatever he's playing Vulture in. And he's got Batman, so his stock's up very high at the moment. Also, moving along, Paramount Plus released the first teaser for Halo, the TV show. Really wasn't much, but all we can really tell is the fact that the original Cortana's voice is coming back for the TV show, which is fantastic. Very integral character in that whole thing. She almost carries a lot of that, clearly, because we can't see Master Chief's face. So, but yeah, small little teaser did drop. Really doesn't give much away. However, if you do go check my Facebook page, it is on there, so you can definitely go check it out. Also, the news as well. Yeah, I got a bit, guys. I got a bit because I missed the last week because we spoke a lot about the DC episode. I got like a lot of news to get off my chest. I've been really, I got like 2 pages here, and I was like, there's so much to get out. There's so much to tell you guys. But yeah, moving on. Kevin Feige at an event mentioned the fact that Scarlett Johansson and himself are working on a secret Marvel project. But apparently it's not related to Black Widow, which is going to be really interesting to see what that is. The project that I really don't actually give a shit about. I'm just really happy the fact that, Scarlett Johansson is still working with Marvel and Kevin Feige, and that relationship is still solid after the lawsuit, which makes me think, after everything was a lawsuit, which we sort of do know, but at the same time, it was a lawsuit definitely more to do with Disney than it was directed at Marvel. Was it actually back and forth? Because, with Kevin Feige, he just seems like the type of guy, he just wants to be your friend. He just wants to make the best content. He doesn't really want to, doesn't really give shit about the political stuff. He's just like, look, we want you for this project. I want to make the very best. Can you come on board? This is what we can offer you. And then you obviously got Disney in the background going, yeah, but what about this, what about that? Which seems to, obviously, at this stage, Disney's really not interfered with a lot. It just seems like Disney's just like, here's a direct line from Disney bank account directly into Marvel, pouring it in, because that's really how it's been ever since they took over. Well, ever since Disney bought Marvel, especially with Disney Plus, it's just opened a huge world of opportunities for Marvel. But yeah, they're working on a secret project. I wonder what it is. I'm very curious to see if it will be a Disney Plus show or a special. But I definitely don't think it, 100% agree with the fact that it's not to do with anything Black Widow, because I do feel like that's something done and dusted, unless it's a small cameo of a past thing. I think that's about it. But that's definitely, Black Widow, 100% dead, ain't coming back. Moving on, still talking about Marvel, which is kind of interesting, whether or not this particular thing is going to shake up the release schedule, because the fact that obviously we do know that with Marvel, with the MCU, pretty much every movie has been delayed back by a few months, from either 2 months to 6 months. Everything's been pushed back due to COVID. However, with Black Panther 2, Alita Wright, who plays Shuri, she injured herself on set with a fractured shoulder and a concussion. This got reported about a month ago, and they said that production hold for a day, and then they went back to it. Obviously on these types of movies, actually on any movie, which is as I can say, most recently with Alec Baldwin, which look, I have been following the Alec Baldwin thing, and look, it's just turning into more of a mess. There's lawsuits now, going back and forth, and honestly, as I'm saying this, I don't think Alec Baldwin is going to come back to movies. If you're a big fan of his movies and you want him to come back for another film, look, I think this might be the. I was about to say nail in the coffin, but I thought no, that might be too on the point. I think this might. It's a terrible tragedy that has happened, and it's a horrible thing. However, this might be taking the toll with him. Not saying he's going to do anything terrible, but I think that he's done making movies. He might make a small appearance here and there, but I don't think he's going to make another full-fledged film again. I think this is going to take a big toll because there's lawsuits coming left and right. But back to the point where I was trying to make is that on these movies, on any movie, with so much going on, accidents do happen. Which apparently what happened to her is definitely was onset injury and concussion and a fractured shoulder. So it looks like, obviously maybe some action scene, a wire's broken or something's gone off and it's just, fully rocked her on one side. But what was reported is the fact that it's actually become much worse than they originally thought, in saying that now the production is completely halted and will not restart until January 2022. Now, my point is the fact that I do hope that she gets well. I do hope that, speedy recovery on anything like this. She's a great actor, and she's one of the major highlights in Black Panther, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. Which I said a couple of weeks ago, the big thing going with the Black Panther 2 is that there's just a giant question mark over, and if you look at the entire MCU lineup so far, we know little tidbits here and here of everything. However, Black Panther has, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, and Thor 4 are the most hype movies for myself that I can't wait to watch, the most excited for. However, Black Panther, I'm excited for a different reason. I'm excited for because I want to know what millions of other fans want to know is how they're going to handle obviously Chadwick Boseman's death, and who's going to be Black Panther, how's it all going to entail, what's they going to be moving forward. Does that mean they're going to bring the Young Avengers is going to be pulled forward, obviously, because the fact will Shuri take up the mantle? I'm guessing if she's been in this kind of action scene, depending on what's happened, maybe she has. But that's the big question is how they're going to handle his passing. Because obviously all we know is the fact that they're going to make it 100% a tribute. Definitely a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. They will honor that. And obviously it's going to be Wakanda forever. But we don't know much more than that. So that's the big question going for Black Panther 2. But I do hope the fact that Lita, right? Ooh, I hope I said that right. Lol. sorry, I hope I said that right. Definitely hope that I've said that her name right, is the fact that I hope this doesn't delay anything further or doesn't put anything out of sorts because of that. But then again, these things allow delays. Obviously, the fact that we're seeing in most recent is the fact also with Doctor Strange 2, they're doing reshoots as well for a couple of scenes. We don't know what's to do with, we don't know if there's obviously something major's happened or, they're just trying to make sure they keep on top of everything or keeping everyone guessing. But yeah, speedy recovery for her, and, drug production has delayed in the last 3 months. Another rumor I did see, now I was going to report on this, but because I mentioned Doctor Strange 2, another rumor is the fact that Hugh Jackman is going to return in Doctor Strange 2 as the Wolverine. Look, it's been reported like a year ago that this was going to happen. And, this is probably a rumor that there's a part of me that thinks that it's not actually going to happen, because he was so happy, so content with how Logan ended. And he was happy that not to return to the character. However, he has mentioned in multiple interviews that one of his biggest regrets was that he couldn't be in the MCU to play Wolverine, because he was at that little bit too early. However, if he does appear, and if I am wrong, then he does. That's one thing he can take off. Check off his list that he did play Wolverine fantastically. Logan was a great final, and he can honestly say, yes, I was also in the MCU. Obviously, but the thing is, if Wolverine does appear in the MCU, if Hugh Jackman does play him, obviously that's going to be a variation. So what is our MCU Wolverine is going to look like? That's also another question. So you open Pandora's box. But look, as I've always said, Hugh Jackman, come back as Logan, take my money, and I'll always take my money. However, don't really know, not too sure about that one. But moving along to video game news. Rockstar have released a statement about the unplayable disaster, shitfire, god-awful, the definitive edition of GTA. Now, I haven't bought the game. I will buy the game. I'm waiting for the physical copy to come out, but I haven't bought the game. However, everything that's come out so far is that apparently, Rockstar nearly have a clear record on their launches for games. And obviously there's some tweaks you have to do when a game comes out. That's where we stand now, but nearly every single game that Rockstar produce is like 98.5% playable, good to go, and that 1% is they do a patch for it within the week it's launched. This game is, from what I've seen, is the fact that there's so many glitches, there's so many, and it's not just one game, all across all three, there's different glitches going on, different stuff, characters looking weird, or different scenes are people are cut out walking through walls. It's it's going to be a mess. It's unfortunately this will be a stain on Rockstar's clean record. And it's terrible because the fact these are legacy games. These are studio legacy building games. But yes, with the statement they said is that they do apologize for the state it's come out in. Obviously, these things were unforeseen. It's happened. And they're going to release an update that will, over the next couple of weeks, it wasn't weeks, it was days, to fix up the game. I'm very curious to see how big that update is. To fix everything, or it could be the fact it could be updates, multiple updates to it. So I'm really hoping that by the time I buy the physical copy, because it doesn't come out until December the 9th, I do believe, is that those updates have come out, and in fact when I do pick up the game, the fact a lot of them have been fixed up. However, look, at the current state, I really didn't want to say this. I really didn't want to. However, this game is almost, not to the same degree, but it's close to the launch of Cyberpunk. Yep. Yes, I said it. It's not looking very well, and it's just, whoa. But they said the fact that they will fix it, they are sorry, and they will, they want to live up to these legacy games. But the most interesting thing I read regarding about that Rockstar statement is, all of that made sense to me. I knew they were going to do this. However, they mentioned the fact that, people are being mean, commenting, harassing, developers, actual personal developers on the game about this. And that's not right. Honestly, that's not right. Look, you can, in a situation where the fact that, you feel ripped off, I get it, people can feel ripped off and everything, but, return the game or get a refund. That's what you can do, put it to rest. You don't need to attack someone, or you don't need to harass someone because of this. It's the same thing happened with Cyberpunk. It's ridiculous. You don't need to do that. People do put their heart and souls into this, and, you don't need to attack them for it. Yes, you can clearly, post a review, comment, saying how, if you don't really like the game, they've made a shit game. It's not one person. It's a collective of people that make it. They've collectively made it shit. You don't need to attack one person or attack individual group of people. So they've had to push out this statement saying, please, essentially, back the write-off and leave us alone. That's not right. That's obviously that's illegal, and you can also go to prison for it because that's not the right thing to do. And it's sad. It doesn't need to happen. People don't need to go to that degree unless they've taken your money. And the fact that, I think there was one, Cyberpunk, I don't condone it, but when that launched, and the fact that the Stadia came in, the 100%, you need to get your refund from that. That was 100% unplayable. You could not, it was a terrible launch, Cyberpunk. That's a statement. And the fact is, I get it. You feel robbed. You feel like, they've told you all this. It's going to be this. It's, almost like a politician. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And you're going to love it. Here it is. And it's just like a soggy sandwich with your glass of milk half gone and it's slightly off. It's and then looking over it, you're going, yeah, you like it? Like what I cooked you? No, this is trash. Take it back. And come back to me. But Cyberpunk is close to that. But yeah, anyone out there who's listening to this, you don't need to attack the developers. Attack them. Well, don't attack them, but air your grievances collectively, because it's a whole unit that have made this shitty game or stuffed up completely, which we can aptly see, which the GTA has. And I feel sorry for all those developers that have been attacked personally. You put your hard work in it, but obviously there's something that's gone wrong, and COVID's caused a lot of that. However, you don't need to do that. In other gaming news, the Steam Deck portable gaming console has been pushed back. That was going to be released in December for America. That's been pushed back until Feb 2022. They've announced that due to the global supply chains, due to microchips, that is the reason why they've had to delay it. Now, for being in Australia, we weren't looking until about, I think, March we were probably going to get it. But now if they've delayed by two months, we're probably not looking, I'd say June or July next year, we will see the Steam Deck in Australia. Which is kind of gutted, but hey, look, the shortages in microchips is being felt from everywhere. Like, in Australia, like, we're still struggling to get stock of the Xbox X and the PlayStation 5. I'm really glad I got mine. Mark's really glad. Dean's glad. But however, for other people, it's still mad. Like, just the other day on our local Big W shopping center for anyone internationally, they announced at like 9 o'clock, PlayStation 5, Xbox X in stock. By 12 o'clock, they announced, now out of stock, done. You gotta wait. Like, that's insane. But the fact it's still so hard to get these consoles because of the global shortage, it's, at this rate, the console will be out for like 3 years and, people are still waiting to get it, which is insane. But yeah, that's been pushed back, so we'll have to wait that. Can't wait to get my hands on that thing, a portable computer. Take my money. Also, moving on, a little callback. So I did on episode 7 of my podcast, I did a review of a game called Surviving the Aftermath. Now, that was an early access game, and I've been playing it non-stop since then, and, it's about three or 4 months now, and there's a lot of updates that happened to it. There was a lot that needed to happen to it. However, as of this week, that game is fully launched, fully ready to go. That's on Xbox and PlayStation Store. So if you'd like to pick it up. So basically, as the title says, SimCity meets post-apocalyptic, basically. They do a fantastic game on it. It's obviously city building, dealing with the fact of all the elements of post-apocalyptic. Obviously, renegades, weird animals that have mutated, toxic waste, shortage of supplies altogether. It's actually a lot of fun. I do recommend it, especially if you're a city building person. I do recommend it. Obviously, there's a little grind and stuff. There was, when I did my review, the little grind was the fact that supply chains to get stuff, it was a very big grind to get it, but they've kind of tweaked that. So the fact that, you can get your wood, your metal and everything like a little bit more. But yeah, that's come out, and I still highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Especially now with all the updates compared to when I bought it. Shit, it was so much like, it was glitchy and it kept crashing. That's the only thing I did. Like, it's my first early access game, and I'm like, I'm just going to wait next time. This is shit. But do recommend it. It's now on sale. It's only about $40 to $50. And, it's by the same guys that do Surviving Mars, which they've done a couple of more DLC stuff, as well as City Skylines. I can't remember the name now. It's also SimCity, basically. They do a fantastic version of that as well. That's fully out. So, after all of that news, that is news I have for you guys to keep you up to date. There was a bit there, actually, especially with, Hawkeye, Michael Keaton, Black Widow, all of that. So, that's all. So, let's get on to the reviews. So, I've got 2 reviews for you guys today. One, Big Mouth Season 5. And Final Space Season 3. So I smashed out both these shows because I've enjoyed them since they first premiered. And I thought, after finally Season 3 came out for Final Space and Big Mouth just came out, the perfect double combo. So with Big Mouth, now if you haven't watched Big Mouth is a great show. Animated, it's created by Nick Kroll. And basically it deals with about these high school, all these kids going through puberty, and it's gone for 5 seasons. It started in September 2017, Netflix exclusive, and basically, they're dealing with puberty, and one of the best parts is the fact that there's hormone monsters. Yes, every kid going through puberty gets a hormone monster trying to get you to go, do what you want to do when you're puberty. But the show's really good because it actually develops, as it goes on each season, they deal with more things that you're going through high school, anxiety, depression, shame. It's all, in different animals or gratitude or gratitude, actually, in the show. And it does it really well. And I feel like it's very crude. It's RMA. It's very cute humor. It's really funny. Like, if you like Family Guy, South Park, and all that, it's right up there. But actually, it handles all those major things that you do go through very well, actually, and very, relatable to a degree. And when you're watching it, you're like, yeah, I remember that, or I remember that. And it's funny because the fact that it's just basically, it's smack in the mouth. It's going to tell you exactly how it is. There's no hiding it. There's no, this happened. No, it's going to tell you straight on. And it's really funny because you feel sorry for these kids because you're like, after 5 seasons, you're like, Jesus Christ, oh God, how much more can you guys can take? But, at the same time, that's 5 seasons. However, they're going through like 2 years of school, or roughly, give or take. All the voice acting is fantastic. And basically, anxiety, depression, shame all have their own particular monster as well. There's the anxiety mosquito, the depression cat, the shame wizard. Now, the best part about the shame wizard is that it's voiced by Professor Lupin from Harry Potter. And every time I'm like, it's so hard to put the two together when he's talking. But then the fact that the shame wizard, yes, anything that you got shame with in his name, he is right there. And each of them have their own particular monster, which they do appear up in different seasons when they start going through with it, obviously, as the name entitles. But look, the show isn't for everybody. Obviously, if you don't like that crude humor, I wouldn't recommend it. Or if it's too front on, I also don't recommend it. But it's a great show to look back on and just laugh. It's really funny. There's a lot of guest stars. Seth Rogen and others have been in it, and so far these, they've done 5 seasons so far, and Netflix have ordered 7 seasons, so we should have 2 more. But this latest season deals with love and hate. So yes, you do have a love bug, and you do have a hate worm. Which is, throughout the season, you see the fact that when they fall in love, everything that goes through your mind. Obviously, when you start hating someone, everything you would do, like social media, your little group and your hate group on someone, and when nothing brings 2 people more together than a shared hate or shared love. And also dealing with split parents, when another parent comes in, and stuff like that. Also, how different people react with different emotions. It does all that stuff. It all handles very well, and throughout the season, that is constant. It doesn't make it. Probably the absurd thing is the humor and having a puberty monster. When it actually gets down to the nitty gritty, they do that very well. All 5 seasons are doing fantastic in that sense of way. So. A lot of people, obviously, I think it's the humor that puts people off, but I think very well, any of those basic human emotions, they do very well and convey it. And it's just, Maury, the hormone monster, is just so effing funny. Just how blunt he is, and his crude humor. Or he's always trying to get you to, have a lovely day, if you will. But no, this season I think they did very well. For season 5, season 4 they went on camp. What it's like to go on a school camp with everybody. The different, the wonderful people you meet, everyone that goes. But this season was also about love and hate, and how much it can change you, and especially when you get rejected, or the fact that when someone pisses you off. They did all that very well. Obviously also singing songs. They also had a Christmas special episode, which every show obviously has a Christmas special nearly. As well as Nick Kroll, who voices about 4 characters in it. He does Maury, he does Lola, he does a couple other characters as well. I can't remember his name. It's just escaped me. But basically, he's a hormone monster, but he's very, very old. Very old. It's like he's been doing the hormone monster job way too long, and he needs to put out to pasture. But spoiler, he appears at the last episode because of the fact that the main character, and obviously himself, he's trying to play himself in a little bit. Comes with why does everything bad happen to me, or why does everything shit happens to me? And he's basically like, look, no, not everything shit happens to you. Depression, anxiety, love, that's all normal. That's life. You have to deal with it. It's not, you're not singled out or you're not picked on. That's just how it is. It's a very surreal moment kind of thing, but it does send a good message. The fact that you deal with these things in life every day, and it does feel sometimes the world is just against you, but really it's just unfortunately just life. But look, it's doing, obviously the main character is also called Nick, sorry. But look, positives things, that's pretty much all the positives about the show. Probably the only bad thing is the fact that it's getting, for me, I obviously did laugh a lot for the season 5. However, some of the jokes seemed very familiar to me, and I was like, all right, so is this like, season 6, they need to change up a lot because it's getting a little bit stale. The message isn't getting stale, just some of the jokes and some of the stuff, you'd be a bit like, yeah, I guess that was funny. Yeah, that's the only thing is like, after you're watching like 1, 2, 3, 4, smack bang, could not stop laughing. This one I could feel it a little bit. However, that's probably the only bad thing. I can't wait to see season 6. I can't wait to see season 7. Like, I do hope they keep going because it's a great show. Honestly, it's honestly a really good show if you like that crude humor, if you do like that sense of smack bang right in the mouth, especially with being, whether you're being straight, gay, lesbian, bi, it's all in there as well. So I highly recommend the show to anyone who's going to be waiting for what's going to come next. And go remember your hormone monster as well, or female monster as well. But yeah, as I said, it's not for everyone. But season 5, solid, good. It's keeping the momentum. However, some of the jokes are trying to get a bit stale, but the message is staying with it. Moving on, Final Space. So Final Space only has 3 seasons, and it's really sad because the fact that this show started on February 26th in 2018. It's really sad because this particular show has been cancelled. Adult Swim and Adult Swim have pulled the plug and be like, nah, no more. And it's really sad because obviously in a show like this, it has ended on a cliffhanger. So the main character is called Gary Spiven. So in the first season, we get him the fact that he's on a prison ship. He's doing time for everything he's done, and then he meets this little green ball with cosmic powers called Mooncake that the evil Supreme Commander is trying to get because he wants all the powers, the power of a massive weapon to open Final Space, which is an interdimensional galaxy. The funny thing is that the Supreme Commander is played by David Tennant. You would never guess it. Honestly, when he starts talking, you would never guess that's Doctor Who. 110%. Oh no, all the purple man from Jessica Jones, season 1. You would have never guessed it. But no, this show is really good as in the sense, if you like Rick and Morty, this is really funny too. This has its moments. It does tell a really good story. So obviously they're trying to keep Mooncake, this cosmic away from the evil Supreme Commander, and along the journey they pick up some more characters like Avocado and Little Avocado. yes, is exactly his name. So the first season we get is they go, it's a space adventure, Rick and Morty, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of style. Still with that, not as crude, but still punch in the mouth kind of stuff sometimes. So that's probably a good strong point. So I only watched this show because it came on my recommendations on Netflix, and I thought, all right, I'll give this a watch. Binged the first 2 seasons, back and forth when I watched it. I was like, oh, this is great. And then I was so excited with season 3, and then boom, cancelled. I'm like, what? For Pete's sake. However, the creator has mentioned the fact that he will continue the story either in comics or video games. If they make a video game, take my money. This would be awesome. It's really good. But yeah, so definitely go to the cancel. But yeah, obviously that's happens in season 1 and season 2. They're definitely trying to get into Final Space, so they go on that kind of venture. And then 3, they're finally in Final Space. And it's interesting because the fact that after 2 seasons, you finally get to see what everyone's been talking about for 2 seasons. This interdimensional world called Final Space with this evil being in the back. And look, characterization is fantastic. Some of the moments are really real, and you do feel really sorry for these characters, what they're going through, because you're like, how much more can you take before you finally break? And also Gary Speedman, he's also got a robot companion. I think the funniest thing is the fact that SpongeBob, Tom Kenny, he's playing the character, and all I can hear is SpongeBob. That's all I can hear. He's actually really funny, but some of these moments, it does actually get really sad, and you're like, oh shit, for a cartoon. Obviously, definitely go watch BoJack Horseman. That does a fantastic job of making you feel a lot and think a lot about everything. But so the season does all of that in characterization, sad moments, and that's actually a really good space opera, definitely space opera kind of show. And definitely in that vein of Rick and Morty. Definitely, and look, if you just want something new to try, if you want something a little bit different, sadly, yes, it only does have 3 seasons. However, overall, it's a good story, characterizations are good, and there's some really laugh out loud moments, and season 3 was really good because you finally got to see the world of Final Space and actually see everything. Just gets sadder from there. Sadder from the very start to the very end, and the cliffhanger at the very end, you're really annoyed because you're like, how could you end it on like that? However, from the creator, it kind of sounds like the fact that he didn't kind of know season 4 wasn't going to be a thing. However, how you at least need to finally see Final Space, and they're trying to get out of it, and it's a really good adventure, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of style, and just laugh out loud moments. So that's also a second recommendation. Probably the only bad thing I have for season 3 was just the fact that it progressed slowly. Like it's like they stretched it out as long as they could, and it was just like, oh, you could have pushed it a little bit longer, a little bit forward. You could add more content into it. It just seemed like they were just stretching for time. Overall, the season 3, that was probably about the most. But that's probably my only really bad thing about the thing. Also bad is the fact that it is cancelled as well. That's probably the other gripe, but you can't control that. But yeah, those are my 2 recommendations for today, guys. And look, thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. Definitely leave a like, share, comment, all the wonderful stuff. Or if you have any different opinions on anything I've mentioned today, especially about my reviews, like, did you like Big Mouth? Did you like Final Space? Like, do you think these were shit? Am I wrong? Hey, if I'm wrong, tell me. I'm glad to hear anyone's opinion. But yeah, thank you for tuning in with these guys. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry, thank you for tuning in with these guys. Thank you for tuning in with me. And until next time, guys.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.